What is up, Buckeye Nation 2? I cannot believe it. This is, I think, the 7th or 8th year of college bowl game predictions. This is an ongoing tradition where I evaluate every bowl game, including playoff and non-playoff bowl games, and I decide who's going to win each game. Usually my criterion of who I'm going to decide is win. It's based usually on feel and, what I've seen, highlights or records or what players they have. But mostly feel, to be honest. I'm not a ball knower, but anyways, let's just get into this. I could yap all I want. So starting off, we have the Cricket Celebration Bowl, which is between, I think that's South Carolina State versus Prairie View A&M, December 13th at noon on ABC. I don't think I have to say the TV provider. Y'all can find that out. But anyways, I have South Carolina State winning. Any team with A&M in it, I just have beef with A&M. After Texas A&M, sent me to their Walmart campus. Not a good move. So I got beef with any school associated with the name A&M, even if they're not attached to Texas A&M. So South Carolina State, give me them in this game. Next, we have the LA Bowl, same day, Boise State versus Washington at 8 p.m. Give me Washington. Washington, they played Ohio State pretty well. They're a pretty underrated team this year. Boise, just not the same without Ashton Jeanty. So, give me Washington. Next is the IS4S Salute to Veterans Bowl. We have Troy versus Jacksonville State on December 16th at 9 p.m. I'm going with Jacksonville State. I feel like, I don't know. One time I did a random selector for college football, NCAA 25 or whatever the game's called, and it landed on Jacksonville State. So I played with them, respect them, so yeah, give me them. Next we have the Staff DNA Cure Poll between Old Dominion versus USF, December 17th at 5 p.m. Give me USF. They were a wagon this year. They were pretty good. Came into the swamp and beat Florida in the swamp. I know Florida was not a very good team this year, but that swamp is a very hard environment to play in. So I give USF all the credit. I was unfortunately there and watched my team just that loss. That was the end of the season, and it was just horrible from there. But yeah, give me USF in that game. Next, we have the 68 Ventures Bowl. We have Louisiana versus Delaware on December 13th at 8:30 p.m. Oh, yeah, the other game was December 17th at 5 p.m. if I didn't mention that. This one's 8:30 p.m. same day. I have Louisiana. I feel like Louisiana is very good in bowl games. The former place of the fired head coach, Florida head coach Billy Napier, who's now at JMU, so he's kind of on a coaching carousel here. But Louisiana, they do well in bowl season, I feel like, so I'm going with them. Next, we have the Xbox Bowl between Missouri State and Arkansas State, December 18th at 9 p.m. Let me tell you, this one was a very tough one to decide. I'm between both these teams. It seems like a pretty even matchup. I see here, I don't even look at the record, so who knows? I could be way off. One could be significantly better than the other. But I'm going with Arkansas State here. I don't know. This was a tough one. This is just a coin toss, so I'm going with them. Next, we have the Myrtle Beach Bowl, Kennesaw State versus Western Michigan on December 19th at 11 a.m. I got Western Michigan. Western Michigan, again, they're another team who tends to do pretty well in bowl season, so I think they got this. I respect the MAC. I love the MAC schools, so yeah, I hope the best for all of them. Next, we have the Union Home Mortgage Gasparilla Bowl between NC State and Memphis on December 19th at 2 p.m. I have Memphis. I think Memphis had a pretty decent season. ACC is just poverty. Honestly, you could just consider them in the G5 with how terrible they were this year. The fact that a 7-5, well, now 8-5 technically team won your conference just shows how pathetic and weak it is. I could go off on the ACC, but yeah, I think Memphis wins. They had a pretty solid year, and they're usually solid at football. So now with that being said, we are on to the first round of the college playoffs. So first round, we have Alabama at Oklahoma on December 19th at 8 p.m. This one was a tough one. I mean, you could say Alabama, they're just cooked because they sucked against Georgia, and Oklahoma already beat them. But looking back on it, last year, I feel like the chances of beating a team 2 times in the same season is very low. So I have Alabama winning this one. The SEC is just completely unpredictable. So this one, I could see it going either way, but I just have Bama just because that statistic. Usually you can't beat, it's harder to beat a team 2 times in the same season. Next we have Miami of Florida at Texas A&M on December 20th at noon. Can't stand either one of these teams. But I tell you, Kyle Field is a hard place to go into and win. So I have Texas A&M beating Miami of Florida. And also Miami of Florida is bad. They couldn't even make the ACC championship. I don't even think they deserve to be here. They suck. But, I mean, their college football is just kind of mid this year with teams in general. So, I mean, they're lucky to even be there. A&M wins that, though. Next round, we have Tulane at Ole Miss, December 20th at 3:30 p.m. Another tough one here, but I do think that Ole Miss wins. Just even though they do lose Kiffin, that is a very, very morale degrading factor in this game. But I do think that they are motivated to prove that he should have not left. So, but I just don't think Tulane can match up to Ole Miss. So I have Ole Miss winning. And then the final matchup of the first round, it's Oregon or James Madison at Oregon, December 20th, 7:30 p.m. Respectfully, I don't think James Madison stands a chance at Autzen Field in Oregon. I think Oregon blows out James Madison here. So give me the Ducks. So now that was the first round. We're going back to regular bowl games. We had the famous Idaho Potato Bowl, one of my personal favorites here. Utah State versus Washington State, December 22nd, 2 p.m. Give me Utah State, just another team who always just ends up in these bowl games, and I think they do pretty solid in them, so I have them winning. Geez, sorry, my throat. I got to clear it up. It's a little scratchy, but next we have the Boca Raton Bowl, Louisville versus Toledo, December 23rd, 2 p.m. Here's the thing. Okay, yeah, the ACC, I went off on a tangent on them. And here's the thing, I love the MAC, but I think Louisville, they had some nice upsets, I think. And I think I don't know if James Madison beat them or they beat James Madison. It was a close game. I have Louisville winning this game against Toledo. I mean, Toledo, they've always been solid in these bowl game environments, but I just think Louisville wins here. Next, we have the New Orleans Bowl, Western Kentucky versus Southern Mississippi, December 23rd, 5:30 p.m. Give me Western Kentucky, another team who just always ends up in these bowl games. They are solid. Give me Western Kentucky. Next, we have the Scooters Coffee Frisco Bowl, UNLV versus Ohio, December 23rd, 9 p.m. This was kind of a tough one to decide, but I kind of went with the MAC loyalty here. Give me the Ohio, what are they, the Bobcats, I think. Give me the Ohio Bobcats. I mean, UNLV, they have a pretty solid coaching down. I don't know if he's still there. I've just been so lost with college football this year. But, yeah, I'm going to go Ohio. Next, we have the Sheraton Hawaii Bowl, California versus Hawaii, on Christmas Eve at 8 p.m. Even though it is in Hawaii's home state and home stadium, so they have home field advantage. Give me Cal here. I think Cal is solid. They'll be able to beat Hawaii. Hawaii's just, I feel like, not the best football program, but yeah. Anyways, we have the Game Above Sports Bowl, Central Michigan versus Northwestern, December 26th, 1 p.m. This is a tough one here because I think Central Michigan was pretty good this year, but I'm going to go with Northwestern here. I just feel like, they're a decent football program. I got them winning. I don't see them losing to a MAC school here. But next we have the Right Bowl. We have New Mexico versus Minnesota, December 26th, 4:30 p.m. This one was a tough one here. I was going back and forth, but I went with Minnesota. I think that, again, the Big Ten school will be able to be a school from a G5 conference. I think they're Mountain West, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah. Next, we have the Serve Pro First Responder Bowl. We have FIU versus UTSA, same day, December 26th, 8 p.m. I got to go UTSA here. I think they have a solid, again, another team who just always ends up in these bowl games. They feel like always end up doing solid. Also, I kind of got some loyalty there. I was looking at the school. I toured it and everything. I ended up being Gator. I mean, you guys probably already know that, but they got a solid school. I respect them, so give me UTSA here. Next, we have the Go Bowling Military Bowl. We have Pittsburgh versus East Carolina, December 27th at 11 a.m. Now here, I mean, this is tough because, obviously Pittsburgh's in a Power 4 conference. East Carolina is not. But East Carolina had a very nice upset last bowl season. I think they continue and carry that momentum. I'm going to go with East Carolina here. I think they pull off the upset against Pittsburgh. And again, I went on the tangent about the ACC. I really think they were a terrible conference this year, and none of the teams were really that impressive to me. So, yeah, give me East Carolina. And next, we have the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl, Penn State versus Clemson, December 27th at 12 p.m. You're getting the trend here. Give me Penn State. I think even though obviously they had the rocky streak of losing 3 straight and then having to fire James Franklin, I think Terry Smith, those last 2 games, Penn State did pretty well, and I think they carried that momentum and beat Clemson, who had a terrible, beyond disappointing season. Clemson should have not been this bad. Clemson should have been in the college playoffs. Just a very huge L for them, and I think they cap it off with a fat L in the bowl season against Penn State. Next, we have the Wasabi Fenway Bowl. We have Army versus UConn, December 27th, 2:15 p.m. I think UConn's a sorry football program. Give me Army. I love Army. I respect them. Thank you to those who served. If you watch this video, appreciate your service, and I'm going to appreciate your service by picking Army in this game. Next, we have the Pop-Tarts Bowl. There's definitely another elite bowl. Is there not a Snoop Dogg one? I just realized that. Oh, that's the next one. Okay, I thought it was the earlier one. But we have Georgia Tech versus BYU, December 27th, 3:30 p.m. Give me Georgia Tech. I was going off on the ACC, but I think Georgia Tech, they're a solid team. They played a pretty good game against Georgia in their rivalry game. And BYU, I just think the Big 12, honestly, they might be a step below the ACC if we're going to be honest here. BYU, they were kind of mid. They just didn't do well against good teams and beat up on Mickey Mouse teams. So, yeah, Georgia Tech, give me that. No. Next, we have the Snoop Dogg, which I was looking for, Arizona Bowl, Miami, Ohio versus Fresno State, December 27th, 4:30 p.m. I think Miami, Ohio was in this bowl last year and they won. And I think they do it again. They are going to be the defending champions of the Snoop Dogg Bowl, and they're going to repeat here. Give me Miami, Ohio. A lot of my family is alma mater, so got to respect them. Give me, I don't even know what their mascot is. I forgot, but yeah, give me Miami, Ohio. Next is the Isleta, New Mexico Bowl, San Diego State versus North Texas, December 27th, 5:45 p.m. Here again, another tough game to pick. Both teams who always end up in this bowl game environment, and it feels like they're always competitive. They win their bowl games. So I think this is going to be a close, clashing head-to-head matchup here, but I think North Texas narrowly takes it. All right, next we have the TaxSlayer Gator Bowl. We have Missouri versus Virginia on December 27th, 7:30 p.m. Virginia, I don't know how you lost to Duke in the ACC championship. You literally would have made the playoffs. And, maybe I wouldn't be dogging the ACC as much if you had won that game. But guess what? You did not win that game, and I think you lose again here. I think that demoralizing loss at Duke just carries over, and you guys don't do well this game. Give me Mizzou. Go Tigers. And speaking of Tigers, we have the Kinder's Texas Bowl between LSU and Houston on December 27th at 9:15 p.m. LSU obviously is, disappointing season, had to fire their head coach. But I just don't see them losing to Houston, who is not really a strong football program. Give me the LSU Tigers. Next, we have the JLab Birmingham Bowl, Georgia Southern versus Appalachian State, December 29th, 9:15 p.m. Because Notre Dame, they were sissies. They complained about not making the playoffs. So boo-hoo. They didn't want to participate in the bowls. So they gave Appalachian State a chance in a bowl matchup. And guess what? I think they take advantage of that opportunity and they work like dogs. Appalachian State, they are built for the bowl game environment. give me the Mountaineers here. Next, we have the Radiance Tech Independence Bowl, Coastal Carolina versus Louisiana Tech, December 30th, 2 p.m. If you've been following this channel for a while and watching these bowl game predictions, you already know I'm a La Tech loyalist. I pick them every single year they are in the bowl games because I feel like they win most, or if not all, of the time in these bowl games. So give me Louisiana Tech. I really hope they win. Next, we have the Liberty Mutual Music City Bowl, Tennessee versus Illinois, December 30th, 5:30 p.m. I think this is going to be a very good game like last year when Illinois played South Carolina. And just like what they did to an SEC team last year, I think Illinois wins again, and proving that the SEC is a very overrated conference. That's another discussion we could have, but I'm not going to get too into it. I think the SEC is super overhyped. That's all I'm going to say right now. Y'all can debate in the comments. I mean, I respect it. If you disagree, I can have a civil discussion, but I just don't think the SEC is that good. But yeah, anyways, we have the Valero Alamo Bowl, USC versus TCU, December 30th, 9 p.m. Give me USC. I mean, two really mid football programs going head-to-head here, and, well, mid as of now, I should say. Obviously, TCU, they were just in the national championship not too long ago, and USC has had a very good history, but they aren't the same. But I think Lincoln Riley leads them to the W here. Next, we have on New Year's Eve, not Christmas Eve, the Relic West Bowl, Vanderbilt versus Iowa at noon. This was another toss-up. I know I was talking on the SEC, but I think Vanderbilt's a solid team. However, I do think Iowa, they do play some solid football, and I think this is going to be a nail-biter, but Iowa wins. Next, we have the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl, Duke versus Arizona State, December 31st, 2 p.m. Duke is coming off a jolly ACC championship win. I think they carry it on. Arizona State, they kind of got demoralized. Sam Leavitt with the injury, I think he's leaving. It looks like it. So I think Duke wins this game here. And no Scatterboo to help them. So, yeah. Next, we have the where was I? The Cheez-It Citrus Bowl. We have Michigan versus Texas, December 31st at 3 p.m. Another toss-up here. I mean, Texas did look good at the end, but I do have a feeling that, I feel like Texas, they're the type of team who have guys who opt out for the draft because Texas has talent, and I don't think guys want to get injured in a bowl game that's not a playoff game. I think Michigan wins, even though Michigan was extremely mid this year. And, again, Texas, they also did somehow lose to Florida, and I don't know how they did that. So, yeah, give me the Wolverines here, even though I do not like Michigan at all. Next, we have the SRS Distribution Las Vegas Bowl, Nebraska versus Utah, December 31st, 3:30 p.m. Give me Nebraska. I think they're a solid football program. Not anything crazy, but I think they win. Utah, they're okay, but I think Nebraska's able to win. Is Cam Rising still at Utah? Let me know in the comments. I totally forgot. I think he might have quit football. I lost track, but that dude is unk status. He needs to stop playing. But anyways, we are now going to take a quick break from the regular bowl games, and we are now on to the quarterfinals, round 2 of the college football playoffs. So on December 31st, 7:30 p.m., the first matchup we're going to have is, because we picked A&M to win, it's going to be Texas A&M facing Ohio State in the Goodyear Cotton Bowl. Give me the Buckeyes. Again, I tell you, the SEC, Ohio State really exposed them last year. They're going to do it again, I think. I might have just spoiled it. So maybe not. Maybe I'm trying to trick you. But yeah, Ohio State beats Texas A&M, even though it's an A&M's home state. You're like, oh, they're going to be more A&M fan. Well, look what happens. They were in the same bowl last year against Texas, and they beat Texas. So give me the Buckeyes here. Next, we have the Capital One Orange Bowl. Picked Oregon to win, so Oregon's going to go against Texas Tech on New Year's Day at noon. And I have Oregon winning this one. I mean, I think Texas Tech is going to be really exposed to that Big Ten level of competitiveness. So, yeah, give me the Ducks in this one. Next, we have the Rose Bowl, which I did pick Alabama. So it's going to be Alabama versus Indiana on January 1st at 4 p.m. I have Indiana winning this, and they're going to absolutely blow out whoever plays them. I don't think it's going to be close. Indiana just looks super scary. They look super dominant right now. They are a juggernaut. I will say that. I don't think they get upset in this game here. Give me the Hoosiers. Curt Cignetti, douche of a person, but heck of a coach. I respect I respect how successful he is. Mendoza, fantastic quarterback. Got to give him this win here. So next, last but not least, for the quarterfinals to the All-State Sugar Bowl, I picked Ole Miss, so it's going to be Ole Miss versus Georgia, January 1st, 8 p.m. I think Missing Kiffin's going to get them here. I think this is not going to even be close. Give me the Bulldogs here. All right, so now back to just only a couple regular bowl games here. We have the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl, Rice versus Texas State on January 2nd at 1 p.m. Give me Texas State. I think Rice is just a school for nerds and academics. I don't think it's really gonna be competitive. Texas State more for the athletics here, so give me them. Next we have the AutoZone Liberty Bowl, Navy versus Cincinnati, January 2nd at 4:30 p.m. I gotta give some love. Again, respect to the service, and I gotta give some love. Navy's always a competitive football program, so give me Navy. Next we have the Duke's Mayo Bowl, Wake Forest versus Mississippi State, January 2nd at 8 p.m. I just don't think Wake Forest, again, more academic school, I don't think they're going to be competitive this game. Give me Mississippi State, even though they were just awful. They lost to Florida, But, yeah, anyways, this is just coughing. It's like the coughing baby versus coughing baby meme here, if you know what I'm referring to. If you know, you know. Next, we have the Holiday Bowl, SMU versus Arizona, January 2nd at 8 p.m. Kind of a tough one here, but I have SMU in this one. They made the playoffs last year, I guess. Just picking them here. That was just the decision. And now that we're all finished with the regular bowl games, now we go down to the wire for the college football playoffs here. So first we have the Verbo Fiesta Bowl. I think it's going to end up being Ohio State and Georgia in this game. If I am doing this correctly, I'm pretty sure I am. But either way, the two will meet up. It just depends on which bowl game they're in. But I think it's this one. It will be January 8th at 7:30 p.m. And look, I was furious after Ohio State lost to Indiana. I go to Florida, but I still like seeing my Buckeyes, who I grew up a fan as, winning. And, it wasn't a very well-coached game, just like the Michigan one last year. But I think what will happen is that there will be a motivation. This loss against Indiana will really spur them on, and they will play with their heads off. And I think they beat the Georgia Bulldogs. Georgia is a very fraudulent team. They almost lost to the Florida Gators in neutral site, so it's not like they were in the swamp. And there were more Georgia fans there. I was at that game. Georgia's not a very explosive offensive team. And I think the Ohio State defense is really good, and they choke against them. I think this might not even be a close game. So, yeah, give me the Buckeyes. Now, this one's interesting here. We have the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. I think a rematch from earlier this year. Indiana versus Oregon, January 9th at 7:30 p.m. And you heard me, what I was saying about Indiana. They look dominant. Their quarterback looks good. I think he should win the Heisman. Curt Cignetti, awesome head coach, even though he's an egomaniac, but awesome head coach anyways. Great defense, great wide receiver weapons. There's just everything about this team is just almost complete. It's crisp, it's perfect. However, I think Oregon has built more playoff experience. They are still a very good team. Moore is still a good quarterback. Dan Lanning's a great coach. And they played earlier this year. Indiana won. And I go back onto what I said about playing a team twice. It is hard to beat a team 2 times in the same season. So with that being said, I think the Oregon Ducks beat Indiana in a very, very tight game. This game is going to come down to the last play here. But I think the Oregon Ducks win. So what that means is on January 19th, at 7:30 p.m. in the College Football National Championship, we have a playoff rematch from last year. We have the Ohio State Buckeyes versus the Oregon Ducks. And let me tell you, I don't think it's going to be a beatdown like last year. I think Oregon is going to have a fire. They want revenge. They're going to push. They're going to push. And they're going to try to beat the Buckeyes. But with that being said, I think the Ohio State dominance comes into factor. There's their recruits, their talent, their just complete team. Heck of a football program. OHIO. Give me the Buckeyes winning the national championship here. And I know you might be saying, oh, you think Ryan Day is a bad coach? Why do you have him winning? Okay, first off here. I could make a whole video about Ryan Day, but I'm just going to briefly talk about him here. Ryan Day, is he a bad coach? No, by no means he is. However, is he an elite coach? No, he isn't. But he can get away with it because you know why? Ohio State is a very dominant program. He's surrounded by great coaching staff, great players, but he's good enough to be able to lead Ohio State to the success and record they need to be. I'm just critical on him because I want to see him just achieve and get to that highest level, that next level. And, I think if he wins a national championship here, learns what he learned from the Indiana loss and the past Michigan losses, I think he can really do that. I just really hope that, Ohio State, I hope they win the championship. I hope Ryan Day learns from his mistakes. The poor clock management last game, and I hope Hartline, he calls better plays for the Buckeyes on the offensive side of things. And yeah, it came down to really a coaching problem against Indiana. I don't think it was necessarily a player problem. There were a couple players who didn't play too well, but I think as long as they use this loss as motivation, play with that fire like they did last year, I think they can go back-to-back here. And, obviously you might be like, oh, this might be some bias, but I genuinely think this can happen. We saw what happened last year, and I think they can repeat what they had done last year, even though Indiana looks unstoppable right now. I think they're just going to have a lot of pressure because they're undefeated, and they might feel or crumble under that pressure against Oregon. And even if they get past Oregon, I don't see them beating Ohio State twice in the same season. So yeah, that's the bowl game video. Look, maybe I'm a little too critical on Ryan Day, but I just really, really, really want him just hone in and lock in and just be able to be considered a top dog, elite coach here. So yeah, make sure to subscribe down below, like this video, leave in the comments what I should do next. And yeah, as always, just thank you for the support. Thank you for just watching the video. If you made it to the end, you're a real one. Appreciate it. All the love goes to you. And, as we always say, until next time, Buckeye Nation 2 gives all the videos to you.